Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the Fan Cave. Bob Pompeani with you for the next 25 minutes as we take you up until 11 o'clock. Call the program. Love to hear from you. It's been a very busy weekend at 412-575-2600. Of course, the Penguins had back-to-back games. They got a shootout win yesterday against Winnipeg, a hard-earned win, a lot of grittiness in that game. Today, however, they were simply outclassed by Carolina, which came in here, put on a clinic. 3 power play goals. They limited the opportunities for the Penguins. It's a tough team to play against, and once again, they proved that. You know, this may be one of the years that Carolina has been close, but they never get far enough, and this could be the year they do it. They have a lot of experience on that team. They have a lot of veterans. They have some young guys who've made an impact, so watch out for the Carolina Hurricanes in this year's playoff. So what that means now is the Penguins remain in second place by a very slim margin because tonight the Islanders beat Columbus 1-0. It was Ilya Sorokin with the shutout there. So that means the Islanders and Blue Jackets are now both with 85 points. Penguins at 86 points, just one different. That's it. And we're going down the stretch here now, ladies and gentlemen, and there's some tough games coming up because if you thought Carolina was tough, on Tuesday night, Colorado comes here, and Colorado has some payback probably on their minds because the Penguins lambasted them out there in Colorado just about a week and a half ago. After that, it's a trip to Ottawa, and Ottawa needs points. They right now have 81. They're third in the wild card. 2 wild card teams get in, so they're going to be, very much motivated to play that game. And then on Saturday, the Penguins come home, take on one of the best teams in the West, the Dallas Stars. So this by no means will be easy, and the Penguins have certainly got to tighten up what they've been doing because yesterday, even in Winnipeg hit 4 goalposts, and today there are a few of that. Last week in Carolina, they're giving up too many grade A chances, and I think the Penguins' blue line, which is generally thin to begin with, I think, minus Ryan Shea today, they had to elevate Ryan Graves to the top 6 or one of the 5-6 pairing there, and you definitely need players like St. Ivany, like Ryan Shea. Those two together have been pretty reliable, and they're both out. At least today, Ryan Shea was out. St. Ivany's been out for quite some time. So there are a lot of issues going on. The goaltending has been good at times. I mean, they've made big saves when they had to. The numbers don't bear that out. Stuart Skinner gave up 4 of the 5 today. One was an empty netter, but, I mean, there were some really good chances there. And, again, if you saw that first goal Sebastian Aho got, Jordan Stahl is standing right in front of Skinner with nobody touching him. You got to move those guys around. And if you don't do that and give, your goaltender some help, you're going to pay the price on that one. 412-575-2600. It's been a crazy day for March Madness. We've seen some crazy results over the weekend. And today, Iowa and a Robert Morris transfer, Folgaris, who was here last year. He transferred. The entire Robert Morris team pretty much did because they got some money. Well, he was money today, a 3-pointer with 3 seconds left, and that's enough to upset number 1 seed in that region, Florida. The Gators just came off an absolute thorough bashing of, I forget who they played. They scored 115 points. But today was different. Iowa's a very good team. Ben McCollum, their head coach, has won at every level he's played at. I think he has 4 Division IIs. He knows how to coach. He got the job there, and Iowa stuns it. So that sets up a very unlikely matchup next Thursday. Iowa, the 9 seed against number 4, Nebraska. And it's always exciting, this tournament. You may not have the, quote, Cinderellas, the teams that come out of nowhere, although Siena almost was one of those. They took, Duke all the way down and should have beaten them, didn't beat them. That coach is going to head to Syracuse now, Jerry McNamara. He was the guy who turned Siena around last year, just an average kind of year after he inherited a real bad program. And this year they got to the NCAA tournament and also almost pulled a big-time upset. So he's going to go back to Syracuse. Syracuse was bad this year, 14th in the ACC. They've lost their luster. They need to find their way. McNamara was part of a national championship team in 2003. We'll get into all this, and it's the start of baseball season this week. I want to hear from you about what you think about this Pirate roster. It looks like both Cook and York made the team. Connor Griffin's going to start in the minors. What's your take on that? Carmen Majinski has been put in as the 5th starter. All right-hand pitchers in the starting rotation. Call us and air your opinions. It's 412-575-2600. Also remind you tonight, we're on a little bit late with the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown because of all the basketball. But it's a good program tonight with Andrew Filipponi, also Will Graves and Brian Batko. We hope you stay up late for that on KDKA. We'll take a break, come back with your phone calls as we continue right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call on KDKA Plus and most nights 93.7 The Fan. All right, welcome back. This is our Xfinity tweet of the night from the NHL. Alex Ovechkin joined Wayne Gretzky as the second player in NHL history to score the 1,000 career goals. That's a combination of both the regular season and the Stanley Cup playoffs. What an achievement by the Great Eight, as they call him down there in Washington. It looks like this is going to be his last year. He's at a contract end. Whether or not he wants to come back, he's 40 years old. He's done quite a bit of stuff in the NHL. I don't think I would expect that, but you never know. Washington is going to miss the playoffs this year, but you can't say enough about that goal-scoring ability Alex Ovechkin had. One of the best shots in the game. Everyone knew it was coming, and everyone seemed not to be able to stop it, especially on the power play. All right, 412-575-2600 is the number to call. We're also talking about the Pirates, who begin. Your take on Connor Griffin, your take on the starting rotation, your take also on whether or not you think they're going to be a playoff team. Jace Collins on X hits us up. You can hit me up at KD Pomp. He says, Pirates made the right move with Connor Griffin. He was batting under 200, has not yet even played in AAA. No use starting his arbitration clock. Jace, I agree with the beginning of that. I don't agree necessarily with the end of it. I'm not worried about arbitration. They're trying to win right now. And if this is strictly a baseball thing, they haven't seen enough, fine. But I want to have the best people up here as I can, because if you remember last April, they missed the playoffs largely because of that start. It was horrific, and they can't afford that this year. That also means, as I said, Billy Cook and Nick York have made this team, and they're going to be doing some things in terms of a platoon role, which is kind of a little bit surprising to me anyway. All right, let's go to the lines. We've got Martin, who joins us in Plum. Hello, Martin. How are you?
Hey, Bob. I'm kind of sick and tired of the Pirates, and this Connor Griffin thing just proves that they aren't serious about winning. I mean, he was supposed to be the best prospect they have. Mm-hmm. They're not going to start him. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, a lot of teams do this with young guys. Keep in mind, though, just so you know, nobody as a teenager has made an opening day roster since 1989. So that takes all of these teams involved, and a lot of them have top prospects. It's not unusual, obviously, because no one's done it in all those years. Ken Griffey Jr. was the last to do it in Seattle. So, you know, I'm willing to bet that he'll be up here within a month. You know, I would say beginning of May. And in the meantime, they're going to play Triolo at short, it looks like. And whether or not it's York or Gonzalez at third, there are a lot of different things. They have a lot of people who are going to play different positions this year. Ryan O'Hearn will be a first. He'll be in right. He'll be a DH at times when Ozuna isn't. That's the only guy you know who's not going to play a position. It's Marcell Ozuna. And then you're going to have Nick Mangum. He's a pretty good young player. Had a rookie year last year and a batting average near 300. So it'll be very interesting to see how Donnie Kelly uses these guys. But as far as win totals, you know, right now it's 78.5. I go over that. I would expect that based on the talent of this pitching staff. Now, you can also see it going the other way, too. Majinski, I didn't think was going to be their fifth starter. Here he is. I think Ashcraft is going to be a good player. I think Chandler is going to be a good pitcher. But all those three I just mentioned are probably going to be on pitch counts and inning counts, which means the bullpen is going to take a central role. And this has become a bullpen league. They have a lot of good arms out there, some lefties. Mason Montgomery, you'll like watching him. If he could corral his heat, he goes over 100 miles an hour. You have Justin Lawrence, another good left-hander out there. And then in the bullpen, Isaac Mattson and Sanchez, who are going to be the closer. So, you know, they got a lot of potential in that bullpen as well. So we'll see what happens. But it'll start this week against the Mets. I'm expecting Connor Griffin to be up here at some point here as soon as this first month is over with, unless everyone starts badly on the left side of the infield. There's not going to be a lot of hitting on that side of it. I don't think so. Triolo's a good player, but he's not going to hit a lot. Gonzalez, streaky, he can hit. They need some production from Joey Bart. They need some production from Henry Davis behind home plate also. And they need guys who have been here, like O'Neal Cruz and Brian Reynolds, to really pick it up and have a good season. They're going to have much better hitters around them. All right, back to the lines we go. And this will be Scott in Lebanon County. What's up, Scott? How are you?
Hi, thanks for taking my call, Pomp. Before I get to what I want to discuss, my thoughts are with the family of hockey reporter Jesse Pierce and her three young children. Oh, it's just so awful what happened to them. Just so incredibly
terrible.
sad.
It was a house fire, for those who don't know, and I don't know what started it. I think there's an investigation. I even believe their dog was involved in this. So, yeah, they all died. It was just a tragic just heart-wrenching story to see.
Yeah. Anyway, my thoughts are regarding today's Pens Hurricanes game. And I think it's safe to say that the Canes have had the Penguins' number as of late. And I think the difference regarding today's game was the bad penalties by the good guys. Because Phil Bork would tell us that 99% of the time when you take a bad penalty, it goes in the back of your net. And I think if the Penguins face the Hurricanes in the playoffs, the Canes are probably going to sweep them. What do you think?
I don't know about sweeping them, but they certainly will be the team to watch, and they'll be the team predicted to win, and I'll predict them to win if they play that matchup. I'm hoping it doesn't get to that, at least early. But the other thing, the Penguin blue line could not stop Carolina in the attack zone. When they were putting a forechecking pressure on, the Penguin defense could not. End of the first period, if you remember watching that game today, they had 4 different turnovers. Malkin, I think, had 3 of them. Right in their own zone. Sloppy. If you do that against that team or any good team, you're going to pay the price. And they got to get much better at that. They've been getting too many chances, shorthanded today. There was a 2-on-1, which resulted in 3 shots on goal in about 5 seconds, and Skinner had to save them from scoring there. They gave up a shorthanded goal yesterday. So far this season, I believe 12 shorthanded goals given up. You can't be that careless, especially against good teams like Carolina has. Let's go out to Joe in Squirrel Hill, who joins us here on the Sports Call. Hey, Joe.
How you doing, Bob?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. I always enjoy your show. I haven't called in a long time, but it's always, hard to get through. My question was, I don't know if you saw the article yesterday, Joe Starkey in the Tribune Review. He said, write it down, the Pirates are going to win 85 games, which would be 14 better than last year. I was just wondering, do you have a rough estimate?
Yeah, I've talked to Joe quite a bit on the radio, so I know how he was feeling about this, but I agree if everything goes exactly right. I think their ceiling is 85 wins. That's what I'm saying. As far as can it go the other way? Absolutely. And we've seen before how this can fall apart. As I said, their pitching is young. It's very talented. But can it be consistent? Can Mitch Keller give you 200 innings and a lot of starts, quality starts? You know what Skeens is going to give you. It's interesting to me. The hitting has been the thing. Like last year, Paul Skeens, in his 32 starts, 17 wins, 15 losses. That's what the Pirates did. Just imagine if they scored one more run a game in his games. If you looked at the games that he lost, many of them were 3-2, 2-1. He would, instead of 17 and 15, it would be something like, I'm trying to calculate in my head, like 25 wins. It would be an 8-win advantage, and it would have changed the direction of what happened last year. That's why these bats, especially Brandon Lau, he's going to be somebody they expect. He's also at the end of a contract. He should be highly motivated to put up a good year. So this all bodes well for them. Chuck in Uniontown joins us right now. Hello, Chuck. Always good to talk to you.
Good evening, Bob. Thank you. First of all, I think it was the correct thing to do with Connor Griffin. I'm comfortable we'll see him within a month. But what I want to ask you is, I predict 83 wins, but I want to ask you, is it possible that we could pull an upset and win the division this year?
My first answer to that, Chuck, would be I think Chicago will have a lot to do with that. They've upgraded their team. I think Alex Bregman gives them a legitimate guy in the middle of that order. They also made a couple of trades to help their pitching. I think Chicago is the team to beat. I don't think Milwaukee, although I say this every year, I look at it because Milwaukee loses 1 or 2 guys every year, and you say, well, they're not going to compete, but they somehow do. They find guys. So I'm not going to rule them out completely, but I look at their roster, it's not as good as what it's been, so I expect them to take a step back. I think St. Louis is probably a last-place team this year, and that's unusual to say considering how they always seem to manage to put together good teams. I would think Pittsburgh and Cincinnati are going to battle for the 2 spot behind Chicago. That's the way I would see it. Let's go out to Mike in Canton, Ohio. Hello, Mike. How are you?
Good. I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on Howard sitting another year behind the quarterback and just getting another year under his belt before we just throw him into the wolves. He hasn't started a preseason game, nothing. Everybody seems to be wanting him to let's go, and I do too, man. The guy won a championship at Ohio State, but I think one more year, and then we can move him in.
Well, first of all, the Steelers have been leading the charge about Will Howard, who's if you ever met him, you'd love him. He's a really good guy to get to know, and I think he has the tools to do it, but we haven't seen it, as you said. Last year was going to be the chance he had in the preseason. Then he got that finger injury, and he didn't play at all. It's one thing to see him in practice. It's certainly another thing in a game. So, yeah, potentially another year of waiting around could help him, but you also have to take care of business if you're the Steelers. If you believe that, then you may not want to draft a quarterback this year. Sooner or later, though, to me, you got to draft quarterbacks when you have a chance to, just because you never know how it's going to go. It's the most important position there is in football, and you better take your swings when you have opportunities. Having said that, I don't expect them to do that this year in the first round. If by chance Ty Simpson's available 21, I don't expect them to take. They have other things they have to do. But they may surprise you and do it. Jackson Dart was a guy they brought in here last year for an interview. He was available to them when they drafted, and instead they went with Derek Harmon. A nice pick, but Jackson Dart's a quarterback who went with the Giants, of course, a pick later or whatever it was, and he had a pretty good first impression. So I don't know how that's going to go, but I know they have to figure this out. Aaron Rodgers will be here. If it's one more year, that's it. And then they have to find out their next franchise quarterback. All right, we're going to take a break, come back with more. 412-575-2600. City's lit up tonight, getting set for the NFL draft. That'll be here before you know it. It's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan. Bob Pompeani back with you here in the Fan Cave. It's 412-575-2600. For those of you who don't know, we do this show every single night of the week, same time at 10:35. How about some of these coaches in the NCAA? We hear all the new guys coming in, younger coaches getting these opportunities, but some of the old grizzled guys are still kicking and doing a pretty good job. Rick Pitino is 73 years old, and he has St. John's in a place they haven't been to since 1999. He's one of the best coaches of all time, and this trip here has kind of solidified that for me. Tom Izzo, I think, is 71 years old, and Michigan State continues to bring up opportunities, and they'd go deep into tournaments, and we'll see how far they can go. By the way, that's the team I picked to win the entire thing. We'll see. Florida got eliminated tonight, so Todd Golden is out. And then you saw some of the stuff that happened yesterday. Now, remind me, Steve, the game that went down to the final buzzer beater that went in and out of the basket. That was Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt had a shot that looked like won the game, and instead it went in and out and did not go down, and how things can change. You thought that shot was going to be good and they would move on. Now they go home. It's wild and wacky in the NCAA tournament, and it will continue to be this coming week. 6 Big Ten teams are here, advanced to the Sweet 16. The ACC, which started with 8, have 1 left. That's it. Everyone else has lost. Duke is the only one surviving. They're the number 1 seed and the overall number 1 seed. So going to be fascinating starting Thursday when we get to the Sweet 16. That's going to do it for me. Thank you for joining us. We'll do it again tomorrow night. And tonight, after the late news, don't forget about the number 1 Cochrane Sports Showdown. Have a good evening. We'll see you again tomorrow right here at 10:35. Another edition of the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Hope you have a nice week, and we'll see you tomorrow night.